there's a lot of Gonk content. Like,
Only
Gonk
Gonks.
tent. Did you say the Gonk tent, AJ?
The Gonk tent, yeah.
The Gonk tent. The Gonk tent.
Incoming transmission from an unknown source. It seems to be urgent. Patching them through. They're calling themselves the HoloNet Marauders.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the HoloNet Marauders podcast. I am joined here with my Bombad Jedi pal, Jamie. No Matt
Hello.
today.
No Matt today.
We miss Matt, but schedules have been hectic. And
A little bit.
Yeah. It works out that we're actually doing this one, just Jamie and I, because what we're going to be talking about is the LEGO Skywalker Saga, which was, I mean, it's took over our lives for the past,
It
what,
did.
it's only been out a week? Or 2 weeks?
Yeah, a week and a half. I don't know, but we played the
Feels like a
entire thing
while.
together co-op, and
Yeah.
bugs aside, we did play the entire thing through the campaign, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get to our pros and cons, but geez, it's been a while since we have done a podcast. Like our last one was the studio cast. Thanks
Yeah.
again to Shelby and
And even like that, like before that, it was a long time. But yes, thanks again to Shelby. That was when Shelby did the thing, and our friend Taylor was visiting, and that feels like it was yesterday, but that was
but
actually
also
a while
like
ago.
a month ago.
Yeah, at least.
But yeah, speaking of that, for our audio listeners, this is episode 61. You might be confused because you're like, oh, where's episode 60? So the studio cast is episode 60. It's over on YouTube. We've mentioned recently that we have a YouTube. We've had it for like a year, right?
Yeah.
And you can watch the video version over there and see our silly faces and our props that we hold up, which I'll get to this mug in a second.
So the reason that episode 60 is only in video is because the audio is a little bit jarring just on its own, because none of us know how to use handheld mics properly. So that's why it is just in video. So if you think that you're missing an episode, hop on over to YouTube, because episode 60 is there. So we're jumping 59 to 61 in the audio only version.
Yes.
Just to clear that up for all of you.
Nothing's really
If
missing, technically.
If anyone's confused. We talked about Star Wars Celebration. If you really want to know about it, that's what that episode was about.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Which I'm really looking forward to now. When we had that recording, we were kind of going through an anxious stretch a bit.
Yeah,
and
we're hitting like the tail end of it, I feel.
Yeah, and I'm afraid of flying, and that was a piece of it. And it's just, the pandemic stuff really kind of, I don't want to say it's broken us all, but it's changed a lot of us, and it's a big trip to the other side of the country for us. But I'm finally starting to get excited for it, because I'm like, you know what? Screw all this stuff. Like, it's going to be fun. It's just getting there is whatever, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a good time. We're going to have
So
a
you
good
can
time.
go listen to our thoughts about Celebration there. But yeah, before we get talking about Lego, no plural really in the proper
Lego.
calling of it. Before we get to Lego Skywalker Saga, let's do our question of the week.
Okay.
No wheel spin, but we
No
we
wheel
have
spin.
a question.
Got
And
it.
it is, what is the number one Star Wars thing you're looking forward to? And what is also the non-number one Star Wars thing you're looking forward to? It can be video game, book, movie, TV show, anything. Music, if you want. I don't care.
Oh, don't.
Well,
okay.
or no music. I was going to say
Okay.
piece of media, but I guess no
Because
music.
like I can list like a thing for every single thing you just listed.
Yeah.
But we'll try to keep it under like 30 seconds here. So the Star Wars thing I'm most looking forward to is Bad Batch season 2. That goes without saying. But also
Right.
recently the news
You're wearing your
about
new shirt too.
I am the new Star Wars Celebration Anaheim with the trio of Wrecker, Echo, and Tech, and hopefully we get everybody else. I have the
Echo
pins,
looks
too.
like a ODST trooper.
Yeah,
from
he does.
Halo.
His helmet looks like really cool. I'm pretty sure Tech's helmet has a little bit of like sparkles to it as well, so I'm very excited.
Oh my! But I got sidetracked
Hey.
already. But the Star Wars
Hey,
pins
it's
get me
my fault.
excited.
The pins, yeah. Well,
Plo Koon.
go back to the pins. Yeah, they announced that today, so they're gradually releasing the pins for pin trading, and we're very excited. But anyway, most excited for Bad Batch season 2. Long-time listeners know that. Short-time listeners know that that's what I'm most excited for. But also very excited for the next novel for the High Republic, which comes out in November. Just the beautiful new cover. It's just looks incredible. I'm just excited for next wave of the High Republic in general. For not Star Wars, I'm gonna have to say Stranger Things season 4. Very excited for that. Also, Better Call Saul season 5, which
6.
comes out 6, the new season 6, the final season. I'm very excited for that because Breaking Bad is like my all-time favorite show. AJ, you know this. It's also one of your all-time favorites. Better Call Saul is also like such a good like prequel. That's pretty much an equal at this point. It's so good. And then I know that a new album for The Midnight is coming out sometime this year, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Oh, also, there's a new video game from Bethesda coming out I'm very excited about. So there's a lot of things that I'm very excited about that's not even Star Wars related. I just gotta get through I gotta get through Celebration first to consume all of that. Like I've really wanted to watch Our Flag Means Death, but like I refuse to get into something before Star Wars Celebration just in case my soul gets consumed by it. So I have to hold out for like another month and a half here before like I can be like, all right, I can look at something else now.
Right. And no, yeah, I like this question a lot because as people that know us know that we don't just love Star Wars. It's like it's our favorite thing. And I was talking with the All New Nerds recently on their Lego stream, and one of them was like, "Oh, AJ, like, is it okay to say like Lord of the Rings is the best trilogy ever?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. It is. You know."
I'm looking forward to Rings of Power again. That's another thing.
So it's good to like a bunch of things. Long story short, and to answer the question myself. Star Wars, number one thing I'm looking forward to is the sequel to Fallen Order.
Yeah.
I don't like calling it Fallen Order 2 because I think it'll be like Jedi something else. It won't be Fallen Order 2. It should be called
Fallen Order 2, but it's spelled like T-O-O. So it's the Fallen Order 2. Like,
Fallen Order as well.
Come on.
So I thought about this hard the other day. Like, what am I drooling over for Star Wars? Because I'm looking forward to all of it, but nothing has had me shaken in my boots in a good way since the sequel trilogy. Because I was thinking about the last Celebration. That was the number one thing. That was the number one thing everyone was looking forward to, I think. Like, the majority of people were jazzed for the Rise of Skywalker trailer. And that was the big feature that weekend. They got it over with the first day.
And end of the first day, I think, wasn't it? No, end of this...
Second day, maybe. Friday.
It was the beginning of the second day.
So that conversation came up because it got announced that they're going to do the Mando, Andor. They're going to do the live action show panel the first day of Celebration to get the big news over with. And the big news last time was that. And I know people were excited for Fallen Order, Mandalorian, but we didn't know about those things yet. And this time around, we have stuff to look forward to with those shows because we're left with the cliffhanger with Book of Boba Fett and Mando. But I love Mandalorian, but Fallen Order, I love Cal Kestis, and I want to see him again. I'm assuming he's in the game again.
Yeah.
I'll be happy no matter what. But
if they do something different, he better come back.
I could go on and speculate about that game for days, but
if we get more actual news, let's speculate another time.
Yeah, definitely. So for my non-Star Wars thing, I guess it would be Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Season 6. I know you mentioned that, and that's actually tonight on this day we're recording this. It's gonna be tonight.
Begins. Yeah, we've been rewatching season 5 and all of the series, and we're like, oh my god, so much happens in season 5. So
yeah. And I hate it's good and bad that they're splitting it up into like two halves. It's kind of like 2 seasons because it'll be 7 episodes leading up till May.
Yeah.
End of May.
Apologies
and then
for listeners who aren't fans of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, but this is exactly what they did for Breaking Bad for the final season as well. They split it in half. And the first half of the final season is so different of Breaking Bad than the back half. There's so much difference that happens, and like I'm very interested to see what happens with Better Call Saul because they had like a lot of like production trouble due to like COVID and whatnot, but then also because of Bob Odenkirk had a heart attack like on set, and so they had to like take like a break as well before they could even finish. So I'm very excited to see how the show finishes.
Absolutely, and it's just so good. I love that universe of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. It's really good.
That universe is.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's a storytelling universe. And I was gonna say Stranger Things as well.
Yep.
But I hate to say it, but the latest trailer like undid me for it. I don't know. They like showed too much, but it was just interesting.
It's exciting, but there's a lot. I feel like the show for Stranger Things I never really saw it as like a horror show, but like the more that like I like think about it, it kind of like is. And I feel like they really wanted to like say with this like new trailer for season 4, hey, guess what? There will be horror this season. So we just want to let you guys know before you start watching and you're like, oh God. So I feel like they had to like over say, hey, there's going to be a lot more like darker content like in this season. And I think that's why the way it was.
They even brought in Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, I mean...
is he the big, like,
I think
web creature at the end?
He might be, yeah.
I have no idea.
But...
Yeah, like, horror is not my forte at all.
No.
I pretty much refuse to watch everything that's horror, but I love Stranger Things, and so I'm very excited to, like, see how that develops.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, it premieres... The first half, they're doing another two-part thing on Celebration Weekend with Kenobi. So lots going on.
We'll probably like watch it on the way home because like I don't think I can devote like the time during Celebration to actually watch it. Because when I watch shows for the first time, like I like can't watch it in like a room full of people. It's literally especially because AJ and me.
We'll want to be in Star Wars Celebration mode, like Star Wars mode. You know, I know Matt will want to marathon Star Wars or something, and we'll figure something out. But you guys are here today to listen to us talk about Star Wars. I'm sure some of you love Stranger Things and Saul, but let's talk about Lego Star Wars. Yeah. And I wanted to mention this mug, which we just got in the mail. It is in the game. You know, Lego characters randomly have the coffee cups. They're always drinking something, a coffee or like a smoothie, and the coffee cups have this Ithorian on them. And this is from Galactic Surplus.
Yeah.
Great shop. Go check them out if you want the mug or something.
We love the Ithorians in this house.
Oh,
I didn't put the guy in the backdrop. Oh, I'm upset.
It's okay. He's in the kitchen making the coffee.
There we go. Ithorian Coffee Co.
Someone had a joke that it's, old Joe in Rebels. So it's like a cup of Joe. Yeah.
That's good.
And that just, that kicks us off perfect for Lego Star Wars because there's so many good jokes in the game. The humor with the game is the funniest part. And I know a lot of people with Lego Star Wars are used to mumble mode in the old game, but that's, in my opinion, very outdated. And I like that they have a voice acting. I
like how the Lego games have evolved over the years. Like the Lego games are like one of my like all-time like favorite like series like of games because like I didn't play a lot of like console like video games like as like a kid. I didn't really start until like literally I was in college. But like I had like a few of the older Lego games on my computer. Like Lego Batman was one of like the first like Lego games that I like played like to the death like on my computer. Lego Batman 1 and 2. So and those ones I don't believe the first one had mumble mode, but the second one had voice acting, and like I didn't really like care that it was different. And then you think to like also like the Avengers game or Marvel Superheroes, I forget what that one was called. That one wasn't mumble mode and nobody complained anything about that, and it was great. Maybe they did. I'm not really that in tune with what people complain about because like whatever, like why. But Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga is incredible. It's really fun, and like you can like I love how they gave the option to start with whichever trilogy you wanted to and like to play the story through that way, so either episode 1, 4, or 7. We started with playing the Phantom Menace and then we did it all the way through. It was great.
I feel that was the best way to do it. I know a lot of people did release order of playing them, but I mean whatever, like we had fun starting with 1 and going to 9. I feel like that's I don't know. I feel like that's how it was meant to be.
It episodes 1 through, how many are there? 9. I'd recommend doing it 1 through 9.
10,
I wouldn't recommend doing it like film release order because like there are like a few like little jokes along the way that are like, I guess would make more sense if you know the context of the prequel. But like at this point, like if you're playing like a Lego Star Wars game, you already know what the story is. It's not like you're consuming the story for the first time through a Lego game. I mean, a kid might, but I would still they're going to play it wherever they want to. It's not like they're there for the story. They're there to smash everything up because it's Lego. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, I mean, a silly thing, I think I mentioned this to Matt, but a silly thing I noticed as we were playing it was like, obviously, the characters overlap into each trilogy. Some of them do. And it was funny playing as R2 and 3PO in the prequels, and then, starting off A New Hope with them in the desert, and on Tatooine, and then having them at the end of the sequel trilogy too. I was like, we've come a long way with these characters, and even being Obi-Wan in A New Hope, and hearing James Arnold Taylor from the
Yep.
Clone Wars did the voice, which was great. And he did the voice for old Obi-Wan too, I believe, right? He just put
I
on
think so. Yeah.
he did a great job with
changed
that.
up a little.
Yeah. And it was cool to just start from one and go all the way through and notice we already know that what goes on with these characters, but just to live their experience. And I know that's silly because it's through Lego, but who cares?
But
Like,
that's the whole like point of Lego though, is just like kind of like make your own story like as you go along and like have like all your little figures together and your sets and like build your own story along the way. And so it is, you are like immersing yourself into it, like you are playing with your own Legos and doing your own story.
and it's just so
that's just what Lego is though, and I love seeing that in the video game format.
it's so damn charming.
Yes.
Like Lego, Star Wars and Lego go together. Like I want to say they go together like peanut butter and jelly, but they go together better than peanut butter and jelly. They're like
yeah,
it's better
arguably,
than
like,
chocolate and peanut butter and jelly.
Star Wars
It's up
was
there.
the first licensed property that Lego made an agreement with, and they still have that to this day. Like Lego did not make any sort of licensed properties until they collaborated with Star Wars going into right before the prequels. They started like making like classic sets, and then they made them for the prequels, and then the rest is history. But like think about that. Like you wouldn't get like any of these like movie sets yet unless like Star Wars did it first. And so it
Right.
just makes sense that like all these Lego games for Star Wars are so well received.
Yeah, and I might not have this correct, but I remember watching some lore video or reading something that Lego was having trouble in the late
Yeah.
90s, and the Star Wars licensing really saved them in
Yeah.
98, 99, wherever that was.
Yeah, because like in case it wasn't painfully obvious, AJ and I are just huge Lego fans in the first place here. So like there was a few documentaries I think that we like watched like about just like Lego in general. It honestly may have been, there was one on Netflix a while ago. I think it was called The Lego House, but in Billund, Denmark, where the
Yeah.
headquarters of Lego is, there is like it's a Lego building and it looks like a bunch of bricks stacked on each other. It's very cool. But they also just dove into like the history like of Lego in general. And in the 90s, Lego was suffering. They were suffering. They did not know what direction they wanted to go into, and the licensing truly did save them. So I love to see that turn around completely now, in which these two huge brands that are like recognized and loved by so many.
Absolutely. And I mean, two brands that we absolutely adore.
That's me
So-
being my little capitalist shill there for Lego
Oh,
and Star
boy.
Wars. But like, it's true. Like I own so many Lego products. It's ridiculous.
We just bought the Cantina.
Yep.
It was a tough decision between the Cantina and the Republic gunship. Jamie, of all people, told me to get the Cantina because it's more fun of a build, which it
Yes,
is. It's
it
the kid
is.
build. It's a playset build.
Because the Ultimate Collector series are cool, but you've only had one of those. You had the A-Wing, and you
Yeah.
enjoyed it, but it's just there, and I don't know, like the scale is totally different from like the regular ships, and so it's like, oh, this is cool, but it's a really big A-Wing. Plus, I told you not to get the gunship because I want to get it myself. I want to get the smaller
were the-
version if they do make a smaller version, which I think that they will soon.
A playset version, yeah.
Yeah, the playset.
Which it'll be cheaper and it's more fun.
Yeah.
But they were the same price, and I went with the Cantina, and I don't really have any regrets. I don't think.
No.
Like 24 minifigures come with it, so that's
There's a
pretty
lot
cool.
of minifigures. They're all in like a dish over
They're
here,
all in
just
that room.
chilling, waiting.
The
until
funniest
everything's
thing-
set up.
This is funny without Matt because obviously Jamie and I live in the same house, but like if you're watching this, it looks like we're in separate locations. I mean,
Well, we are in two
On the
totally
map.
different like
We're in the
sides
same
of the
house.
house, so that way you like can't hear each other on the recordings. But like,
we just don't know how to set up on the same computer and do a podcast. This is
Doesn't
what
work
the
with our-
pandemic has done to us.
we live in the same
know
house, but we social distance during the podcast. So
I guess so. You could say that, I guess. But let's get into the game a bit. We
Yeah.
talked about playing episode 1 through 9. Let's talk about some pros or some cons, because I thought this game was amazing. It's a very close to 10 out of 10 for me. There's some issues with the game,
all
I would
right,
say,
AJ,
but
biggest con, the speeder bike mission on Endor.
and this
I've seen
This
a
goes-
lot of people have the same problem that we
this
ran
was
into.
the most angry I got with this game, because for some reason I started to get like motion sick from watching the screen, and I never do. It was a combination of that and being frustrated of we're on Endor, and for anyone that's listening to this and you don't want spoilers about the gameplay or anything, we're just warning you here. We're going to talk a lot about the game in depth. So we're on Endor, spoiler,
Yep.
And
Just like in the movie.
we got to the part where Luke and Leia go on the speeder bikes through the trees and everything, and it was really cool. The controls are cool. Everything looks great with the whole game, and we're supposed to be taking out a certain number of scout troopers along the way, which
They
just
like,
kept coming and
randomly
coming.
appear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, oh, take out 4, take out 3, take out 4. So we got to a part. We started off just shooting everything in sight to get the
As one
coins, the
does.
studs.
Yeah.
We're trying to get true Jedi and all the bricks and all collectibles. And I think we broke the game somehow doing that. You can like take 2 steps and break this game, and I'll get into that as
Yeah.
we go. But the scout troopers just weren't appearing, so we're just flying and flying and flying endlessly, and it was
just kept
driving me
going.
nuts. So we had to restart the game.
Yeah, just restarted like that like level, but still it was something else. Yeah, that was like the one big con. The other big con, I really don't have many complaints with this game at all, just these 2 things. That first thing, and then the other big thing, walking through doorways on co-op. Sometimes
Yeah.
you'll walk out, and if you tap a button just so, it'll just shoot you back into where you just were, and you're stuck going in between the doorway and you can't leave.
Yeah.
The amount of times I just straight up had to drop out of co-op in order to like
And I thought it
rejoin
was
the
like a
game.
you problem. I didn't say anything, but then
No,
it happened to
it
me
would also-
too. So I was like, oh, there we go.
It wasn't just me like not being able to play video games. No,
I,
it was an
I didn't
actual
think it was.
problem.
I didn't think it was you not being able to play. I just thought it was like bad luck. But yeah, that's an issue. And if you look across Twitter and everywhere, there's a lot of bugs with this game. We got lucky actually, because
Yeah.
some people had like their game unplayable. Like you'd walk into a door and like the screen would just look somewhere else, and they'd restart the game and it'd still be stuck in that position because it saved there. So we kind of got lucky, I guess. I'm trying to think of some other bugs we've come in.
We had a
across.
few
There's one with-
random NPCs. They're just blank faces.
Blank faces, yeah.
So they just look like this.
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes people will talk and they won't be there.
Right.
Like it'll be a speech bubble and like no one will be there.
The other big one on a bounty hunting mission, the box that the bounty
no.
goes into gets like tethered to the back of your ship, and then you go to another planet. We dropped it off, and then there's a bounty hunting box like stuck on the back of like AJ's ship now. Whichever
know.
ship he changes to, it's still there.
It's always there.
But yeah, that's enough about the bugs. Like we said, like there are bugs in the game, but it is a huge game, and
Yeah.
I think that that's really important for us to like take into consideration for everyone across the board. It is a huge game, and it is playable at the end of the day, and it is still very fun, and it really doesn't affect like the overall experience because you just gotta like restart a few things for like time to time, but like whatever, it's just like takes like
Yeah,
a few minutes.
and they're gonna
out of your
patch the
day.
game, so hopefully
Yeah.
that fixes it for a lot of people.
Yeah, the fact there's so much more coming out with the DLC of not really DLC, but yes, DLC of just like character packs. Like the fact that they're adding those in, they are actively like working on it and making maintenance to it. And I will say, like, upon like release, like we got the solo, and it was just a trooper pack, right? That was the
Yeah.
additional characters. When free play, I play as Enfys Nest every single time. I love it. It was so exciting that I got to just see her run around, and I love how like she has her cape and it's orange underneath and it's black on the back, and there's a little detail of like the fur on like her like upper back,
Right.
and I love it. She's so cute. I love Lego Enfys Nest.
Who do I usually play for in free play the most? I guess
Usually
Kylo.
Kylo or Ben Solo.
It's
One of the
it's nice running around as a Jedi because you can use the Force and
Yeah.
open doors and move boxes and whatever. But let's get to a big positive. My number one positive with the game. We talked about our number one negative being the bugs and the glitches. But just the hub worlds, the open worldness of each planet, I thought is just amazing. It's amazing to go to any planet you pretty much want, you know, in the canon universe, canon galaxy. You go to Canto Bight, you go to Coruscant, Hoth, and it's just so fun to go there and find all the bricks you want, talk to the people. There's the side quests in the game are just the best.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about Lego Avengers or Marvel superheroes. It's very
I think it
much
was
like
Lego
that.
Avengers, yeah.
Very much like that, where you go around the map, the open world, and just do random quests. And it's always something silly, like, oh, get this guy out of the ice, or go in the clone arcade on Camino and win this game to get a brick. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other good ones that we've done.
Help
Salacious
fill these
Bee.
orders. Oh, Salacious Bee. Yeah, go
We had to
listen
get-
for a few different jokes because he needs new jokes.
What was the name of that quest?
Salacious Bee Crummy at jokes.
At jokes, yeah.
I
So, like-
love the names of the quests in this. They are all like incredible puns or some sort of weird reference, and it's just like
You know what? There's a lot of references to. Gonk droids.
Yes.
There's so many Gonk jokes.
All right.
Like,
Spoilers if
every
you don't
planet.
want to hear anything about what's happening with the Gonk content in the LEGO Skywalker Saga. Ryan, this is a
The
call
Gonk
out because
tent.
we know that you haven't played all of it yet and you're very interested in Gonk droids. But there's a lot of Gonk content. Like the
Only
Gonk
Gonks.
tent. Did you say the Gonk tent, AJ?
The Gonk tent. Yeah.
The Gonk tent. The Gonk tent. There is a Gonk beauty pageant. There is a the Knights of Gonk.
Yes.
Gonkatine, Sir Gonkington the Third. It sounds like I'm talking gibberish, but no, these are things that are in the game. Like, it's incredible, and then you can run around as a Gonk droid. There's a lot of like you have to escort Gonks like around just so that way they don't
They
get, like,
run
attacked.
so funny.
Yeah, it's so good, and like they're just incredible and they're so cute, and you can only talk to them if you're a protocol droid or an astromech, because otherwise it'll pop up and it'll just like gonk 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 gonk. But then if you are like one of the droids, it'll translate it for you, and like the way that these gonks talk, it is adorable. Like, they have such personality, and I love how they have gone above and beyond to like write out all these gonks with so much personality, because gonk can mean so much.
It really can. And one of the cool touches with the game is, you need a droid to talk to a droid, or even I think Rey can talk to droids just like she can in the movie. She
Yep.
can understand binary, right? That's what it's called.
Yep.
And she can talk to Wookiees just like she can in the movies. I think Han can talk to Wookiees as well. I think Luke can talk to droids because I
Yep.
think he understands R2 and everything. And that was just a really cool touch. Like, they didn't have to do that, because I understand they have classes for each of these things. Protocol droid, astromech, hero, villain, Jedi. They have all the scoundrel. But they are able to, with some of them, they're able to put a few little details in, like Han can understand Wookiees and Rey can
Yeah.
understand Wookiees. Like, that's really cool.
I like how they add that in, because it just adds like that extra level of, hey, you need this person in order to have that conversation.
Yeah.
And it's also for some of like the aliens that you'll come across, you need a protocol droid to talk to them, or that kind of an alien. So like to talk to the caretakers on Octo, you don't understand them. Like, Luke doesn't understand them, Rey doesn't understand them. The only ones who can understand them are another caretaker or a droid. Protocol droid, or same thing with like the Aki-Aki, which I love all of the Aki-Aki. We'll get to that in a bit.
Pisana was fantastic.
Yeah. Let's go through each trilogy really quick, AJ. So like our favorite moments, I guess, in each of them. So we'll kick it off with the prequel trilogy.
Okay.
What was your favorite moment from it so
I've even
far?
rated every game, every film but I can get to that later.
Oh, yeah,
Or
we
I
can
could
get
tell
back to
you
that.
what's best. Okay.
Yeah,
So
let's
favorite
do our
moments
favorite
from the prequels that I thought
Yeah.
they did well.
In this game. Yep.
With episode 1, which I thought was probably one of the weakest playthroughs. Like, it was fun, and I love the movie, but I thought it was a weaker playthrough. But being the Gungans in the big field battle on Naboo was awesome. You can catapult the Boomas. There's a lot of Booma jokes, the blue balls that the
Lot of Booma
Gungans
jokes.
use. You could catapult those into the droid army approaching. That was really cool. Fighting within the bubble, the bubble
Who
shield.
select the big bubble? So we've been playing through like the free play, right? So if you go back to Auto Gunga, there's
I
one
hate
mission.
Auto Gunga.
Auto Gunga, it's
It looks
pretty,
cool,
it's
but
cool,
I hate it.
But like it's
so
a
boring.
little tricky.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of like platforms and whatnot. And there's Gungans just yelling at you, who select the big bubble? And then when you unlock the big bubble, they're like, did you unlock the big bubble? It's like, yes, I unlocked the big
Yes,
bubble.
it was me.
Yes, it was
Give me the brick. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the field battle was great. Let me do one for each film if I can remember correctly. Episode 2, the Dooku fight was annoying, so I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
The Zam Wessel chase. I'm trying to remember. This is easy. Dex's Diner.
Yeah.
You got to go to Dex's, and you got to, before you talk to Dex, he's like, buddy, I need you to help out with the patrons
Orders.
here. Like,
Yeah.
and you had to ask everyone their order and bring the food over to them. And I said to Jamie, if they made a whole game of just serving people at Dex's, I would play that for like hours on end.
Yeah,
I wish there
would.
was more. I wish you could do more of that. You can do it once and that's it, unfortunately. Revenge of the Sith. I don't know. I thought the level where you fight Grievous was fun because you got to be Cody and Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah,
And that was pretty fun. It was like fighting it was a boss battle essentially, and you go around. And that was fun.
I feel like in general for me for the prequels for my favorite part, I love the free play more than the actual like campaign of all three movies for the prequels. Because they have to take a lot out of the story. And like you think that like Padme's story is cut down in the movies, it is really cut down in the Lego game.
Yeah.
Just FYI, Padme fans, she really has like barely a role like in the Lego game, and it's kind of heartbreaking. But like she really like it's
I'm
like
trying to
nothing.
think of a part where you play as her really,
I don't
the Droid
think
Factory you do,
aside from like Phantom Menace, you can run around like Mos Espa and whatnot. But
and Geonosis. And,
but
the
it's not
Geonosis
much.
arena was kind of fun too.
Yeah, I think that might have been like my favorite part of Attack of the Clones, which is also like my favorite like moment in the actual movie. So that like reflected like well. Back to like Phantom Menace as well. I love like the opening like sequence with like Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and just like still like
See,
them doing their business.
I have a mini complaint with that. And it's not a complaint. It's kind of just something like, that was interesting. Like we showed up on the capital ship there and there's no negotiations and we just walked out essentially. Like we went around and collected the studs, but it was very quick. We were in and out.
Yeah.
There was no mission. Yeah, it was very short. There was no mission with it really. And as soon as we played that, I was like, I bet there's going to be people that complain about this. Like a lot of the gameplay, a lot of the story is like walking through the hub world. Like, oh, go see Watto. And you go see him. And then, oh, go to the arena and then do the pod race, like, which was great.
Yeah. I think that the games are like built more so like you can just like explore. And so like
Yeah.
the story is like a little like difficult to like not difficult, but it's weird to like weave it in between like that because it is more of like just go to this point and then your quest starts. Go to this point and then it starts, and it's just okay.
The actual missions are just mainly boss battles or like flying or vehicle missions, essentially. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what my favorite part of Revenge of the Sith was.
Not the Mustafar duel.
I
didn't
not
think
the
they did that
Mustafar
well.
duel.
No.
Because half of it you spend playing as R2 and 3PO.
Yeah,
which
it's weird.
is interesting. What else? What else happens in Revenge of the Sith? I really like the Jedi Temple.
Yeah, the Jedi Temple was
a bit of both, but like I love being on Coruscant and seeing the Jedi Temple. Like that was just very cool.
And it was cool to see it transition into post Order 66. So there's clones everywhere, and I'm pretty sure if you're walking around as a Jedi, even in free play, they start shooting at you, which is kind of cool.
Not cool, no, but it's pretty.
It was a cool detail, a cool addition.
Yeah. All right, move on to original trilogy. Favorite moments.
Okay. A New Hope. Oh, blowing up the Death Star. I thought the flying around the Death Star was amazing.
Yeah.
A
I feel
tier,
like that's
S tier.
the only time in the game, the entire game, that you have that kind of a fight as well.
You do it
Or
again.
Did they do it again for Death Star 2?
No, they didn't, which I found interesting. You do it. Maybe they didn't want to be repetitive. You do it as Poe on Starkiller Base.
Yeah, it's slightly different though.
And then you do it against the Dreadnought in Last Jedi. But yeah, that was.
I kind of like block the flying missions like out of like
I
my
love,
mind.
I love
like,
the flying missions. I mean, I love flying in games.
I
And
despise flying in games.
While we're on the flying topic, I thought the ones were cool where I got to fly and you got to use the turret.
yeah,
Like pretty much in the Falcon. That was kind of
that
cool.
was
I think we
enjoyable.
enjoyed that. But where was I with A New Hope? Death Star, blowing up the Death Star.
Death Star?
I thought that was good. I got to play as Luke. You were Wedge, I believe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the flying mechanics. I thought they did a really good job with that. If you can remember the complete sagas flying, it was atrocious. Anyone who defends it is crazy. It was very arcadey, where like you'd just be flying and you'd move the joystick to like just go back the other way, and you had to remember picking up like the proton things, and you'd have the purple trail behind you.
I think that's why I'm like scarred for life with flying missions on things, because like
But the new one did it well.
Yeah, but like
So for Empire Strikes Back, I thought A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back were amazing. I thought when we walked around Hoth as Han Solo and Riken
yeah,
was amazing, because we were like, it was dark out. This doesn't happen in the movie, but I thought it was a cool addition. We're trying to move satellite dishes, I think, to
Yeah,
coordinate
to like
so we
position
could find Luke.
so we could find Luke, and
And
that
they
was a
played
funny mission.
they played music from the menu of Shadows of the Empire, but technically it is on the soundtrack for
Yes.
Empire Strikes Back, but they didn't use it in the film. They used like one little cue of it during the Wampa dragging Luke, but they didn't use it. So I was happy to see that in the game. And apparently the Outriders in the game.
We
I
haven't
feel like I'm
found
a
it yet.
windbag right now with all these facts, but
It's okay.
that's what a podcast is for. And then Return of the Jedi. My apologies. I thought Jabba's palace was fun. Just like in the movie,
Yeah.
that's my favorite part. Jabba's palace to the fighting Boba Fett on the skiff was fun.
There was a few like I didn't like all of like the mechanics with like Jabba's palace though, because like when you get onto like the sail barge, like you have to like play as Leia, and that I don't remember who the other
Oh.
person was.
R2.
Was it R2?
And
Yeah,
you
Leia
fight
and R2.
Salacious B and Jabba at the same time.
And it
while,
was just
while the
weird
music
at
was
how
playing.
it happened.
Yeah,
It
that was strange.
Yeah. I think that for me, gosh, it's weird like why I asked this question, because I don't remember anything that happened, and I'm like, did I play this game?
You're putting it all on me to recall everything. So
I
it
am,
gets your
and I'm
memory
just
going.
like, yeah, I'm writing that down. Oh, I can't say that because I can't remember. For A New Hope, I remember for A New Hope, it was the one that I liked playing the most, like story wise for some reason. I think that Last Jedi or Rise of Skywalker are actually my favorite, but I think that A New Hope was my favorite one to play story wise. I loved the early on like just being with Luke in the Lars homestead, because like we
Yeah.
got like our first like intro of just like Tatooine and like being, well, we see it in like Phantom Menace, but like, you know, a different version. I also just loved like the little missions of like you had to like collect all the droids to put them in the oil bath.
The oil bath. That was maybe one of the best side missions.
Yeah, it is
The
just, like,
Gonk.
it was a Gonk. It was
R5. A pit
Yeah.
droid was there.
the pit droid was like, I gotta get everybody in to go in the jacuzzi here, and it's just like,
If you
okay.
go back, they're still there.
Yeah, you go
to this
back in
day.
like sequel time, they're still in that oil bath. They are just living it up. They will never leave. For Empire, I liked Cloud City a lot. Like
Yeah.
I really liked Bespin. Like that was very cool. The whole location was very cool. I think that just like seeing the locations again, just like rehashed, is just like, it's always like an exciting experience. I liked like the intro of I guess kind of spoilery. I like the intro of when they meet Lando, and Lando does the hello, what do we hear? And it's like 3PO in like a mop wig,
That was great.
and it's just like, huh?
A lot of good 3PO jokes.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the one from A New Hope. Okay. So, speaking of 3PO jokes, this one is kind of a spoiler. So it's A New Hope. Just yeah. If you're still listening to it at this point, I'm pretty sure you don't care about the spoilers. So
I know, seriously.
it's Obi-Wan, and he has the droids with him, and it's the two stormtroopers by the shields, and they're like, I think it might be just another drill. And then it cuts to Obi-Wan and 3PO and R2, and for some reason 3PO has like a drill, and he's like
He's like,
like a handheld drill, because he's like nervous. So like the drill's like whirring. And then the
so
two
random,
troopers
but
are
so
just
funny.
like, all right, just walk away. That's what the Lego humor is, though. It's a lot of the visual things like that, and it makes so much more sense when you actually have like the dialogue with it as well. So it's something
Yeah.
that would have made sense on mumble mode, but it makes it so much better when it is like the actual dialogue as well. And let's see, last OT. So for Return of the Jedi,
Endor speeder bike?
no. I don't know.
I thought
Gosh,
the
what happened in the game? I don't remember.
I'm trying to remember
anything.
the exact missions. It was kind of cool, but it took forever. You got to be Vader and I was
I was
Luke.
just gonna say I
was hard, though.
appreciated that at the end, how in the final throne room fight you get to fight as Vader and Luke if you're doing co-op. Now if you're doing it by yourself, I don't know if you get to like swap in between them. You probably do, but that was pretty cool.
It was
liked
really
that.
hard because you were kicking my butt because you had this really long health and I just had like the little regular health you usually have. So I died
Yeah.
like 20 times trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And I wish they did that going back to Revenge of the Sith. I wish they did. One person got
Yeah.
to be Anakin, one person got to be Obi-Wan, like in the old game. But yeah, I thought A New Hope and Empire were very good. I gave each of them a 10 out of 10. That's a sneak peek at my little ranking
Okay.
of each one. I'll get to
Don't
that at
ask
the
me
end.
to rank them because I don't remember what I did yesterday.
So do you want to go to the sequels right now? Are we gonna
Yes.
do that? Okay.
Yes, because this is the ones that I remember the most. So
Cool. Okay. Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
I am trying to remember the missions from the Force Awakens the most. See, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker I thought were very fun, and I was looking forward to those the most because they hadn't had a game yet in Lego form.
So I think that for context, I feel like the Force Awakens was the one I was the most like underwhelmed with because we had the Lego Star Wars Force
That
Awakens
had its own
game
game,
that came
yeah.
out, and that game was incredible. It also included like the side mission with Sidon Ithano,
Yeah.
and that was incredible. And we're gonna talk about that later. But I guess I'll go first for the Force Awakens, right? So my favorite bit was actually when you find Han and Chewie on the Eravana, and
Yeah.
Rey and Finn and BB-8 are just like there, and then Kanja Club and the Guavian not Death Gang because they couldn't say Death Gang in a Lego game.
I think they were like the Guavian security gang or group or something. It was very
Yeah,
weird.
but then later on they said gang. They were allowed to say it, but just in like concurrently they couldn't say it, which was like funny, the kids game.
Yeah.
But I like that entire sequence because that's the first you got to really like play as like a smuggler, like per se, because it's this weird like keying of like finding. It's kind of like VATS and like Fallout. If it like hooks you up like immediately where you need to go. But I like that. I like playing as like Han and Chewie, like as that duo, old Han and Chewie.
I thought that was now that you're bringing that up, that was one of the most classic Lego game level type things on the Eravana
Yeah.
with the Rathars and the Guavian Death Gang around and Concha Club. Like I
There's
was on one section of the map with Rey and Finn, and you were Han, Chewie, and BB-8.
BB-8, yeah.
up
There's
top,
a lot
and
of puzzles. And
that
we
was
were
really
doing our
cool.
own thing, but then we also like met up randomly like during the entire thing.
And I think going back to the prequels, Droid Factory was like that. And there's probably another.
Yeah.
Those are the coolest missions where you're playing co-op, you're in separate parts, but you're helping each other along the way, like hitting a door or a turret or something.
Yep.
So that's a good pick. For me, there's one on Starkiller where Han, Finn, and Chewie, and is BB-8? BB-8's not there. And we were going around hiding from Phasma, and we had to set the traps up together. I thought that was kind of fun. And unique.
That was pretty good.
We had to like make the floor wet or something, and she slipped, or she got electrocuted. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah.
And flying around as Poe was fun in the end of that too.
Yeah.
Last Jedi.
Last Jedi. All of it. So
Yeah, it was really good.
so Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker so this was brand new. Never had done like Lego game content before for it. Like obviously we'd had like physical Legos from like these two movies, but we hadn't seen anything Lego game from them before. So I was really looking forward to it, and it exceeded expectations. I loved everything with Octo for Last Jedi. Just seeing all the porgs everywhere and seeing the caretaker village, like that was all just very, very cool.
Yeah.
I kind of despised the level in the cave.
See, I thought that one was cool.
I didn't like it. I don't like when things are like
was weird.
tricky with like the reflection and whatnot, and it's
I thought it
not
was
my
clever.
thing. It was very clever.
Clever
It was very
use.
Ryan Johnson clever. Somehow
Yeah, it was.
They snuck that in there. It's very clever, almost too clever,
Yeah.
just like him. But yeah, I loved like seeing all the porgs and whatnot, and I love how also in free play there's like a porg hidden somewhere in every planet. You
Yeah.
have to find it and you have to save it until you just hear like a lingering like porg noise somewhere. So it's very on brand with me because I always hear lingering porg noises, and I don't know where they are, but they're somewhere.
So your favorite was Octo. Yeah, I loved everything about Last Jedi. Obviously, we loved the film, so we were looking forward to the game. And it was weird because when you start out on the Radis,
Yeah.
you know, the Resistance ship there named after the late General Radis or Admiral Radis.
I think it was
Sorry,
Admiral Radis.
My apologies. Who dies in Rogue One, which is a cool detail alone in the movie, in the lore. But for some reason, it was very iconic and nostalgic, as weird as that is, because the movie's only 5 years old now.
Yeah.
And just walking around that ship, they nailed the look of it in Lego form. And the unfortunate part is you can't go back to
Yeah.
that unless you restart the game, I think. But there were some simple missions which I thought were cool of Poe and Finn walking around trying to find Finn's
yeah.
clothes.
Yeah, Finn is wearing the Bacta suit, and so he needs to find a jacket. And then, like, you go to, like, the guy who's, like, the quartermaster, and he's just like, oh, well, the last pair of clothes that I lent out was to P. Dameron, and I don't know, he hasn't returned it yet. And Poe's like, yeah, let's go somewhere else and see what else we can find. It's just really good. It's very fun.
And then, once again, flying around as Poe, me always talking about the flying, blowing up the dreadnought was a blast, no pun intended. It was really cool. I thought it was just like the movie. Anytime something in Lego form is like just like the movie, you get to play out the movie. It's really cool.
Yeah.
We did not get to see Captain Kennedy. He's a playable character. Like, you can buy him and play as him, but he wasn't.
You don't go onto the dreadnought. You don't go onto it at all. I think
and they didn't have Tarkin either.
That's one thing I wish you were able to do more, is play more of like the Empire and play more of the First Order. You really like couldn't play that much like as them. You like play as Kylo Ren and Rey being escorted to Snoke's throne room in the Last Jedi.
That was,
oh
my God, I take it back.
Mission.
That was very cool because you walk as them just to the elevator to go see Snoke, and there's so much funny banter between them. Like, I thought they nailed making Kylo Ren funny.
Yeah.
And the relationship between him and Rey, it was just, and then she mocks him at one point. It's very TikTok-y, like,
yeah, it was kind of like that
cosplayer, like comedy you'd see between Kylo and Rey. It was just very good. It was very well done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that because they made it clear that it's like there's something going on here, but like it was good. It was very good. I loved the throne room fight as well. But
that goes
on
without saying.
To Rise of Skywalker. Pasana.
Which I've been very happy. I've been very happy. People I've seen online, they all thought playing Rise of Skywalker was very fun, so that makes me happy. Which it was. It was a blast.
Rise of Skywalker was one of my favorite ones to play, story-wise
and
in free play. The only downside of it, our version glitched out in the last mission with Finn and Janna on the Star Destroyer, like really bad. Like we almost could not beat the game because of it. But otherwise, that aside, it was like so much fun to play and like live out like that mission. Like I loved the Ajan Claw space. Like if you like go up to like Beaumont Kin, he's dropping like Lord of the Rings references, something about like second breakfast, and it's like, oh, they know. And then like I loved everything on Pisana. Like my favorite part, which you might say, but I'm gonna say it. It's the puppet show. And so like in the movie, like Rey looks at all like the little kids like gathered and being happy and watching the puppet show and whatever story they're telling. You can reenact that puppet show like in the Lego game. And so you have to like grab the puppets and they're like little like minifigures and they're like reenacting like the story of like Anakin Skywalker. And they like rename them like something funny. It's like Panakin High Talker. It's something like crazy like that. And like
Dopey One
and Dart Nader. It's like it's like what is this? But it's so cute. And that was like probably like one of my favorite like missions that you have to complete during the actual game. And then the free play is just incredible.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. And that was one of my favorite moments. But I thought the coolest moment, and it's one of the coolest moments in the movie too, is when pulling out the lightsaber and Ben fights the Knights and Rey fights the Sovereign Protectors in front of Palpatine. And I thought it was very funny because this was amazing in co-op. There were some moments that were just made for co-op. Praetorian Guards was one of them. This was another one. Jamie got to play as Ben.
Yep.
And I played as Rey. Jamie got to fight the Knights of Ren in Lego form. Like, that's so cool. And the Sovereign Protectors were cool to see, but I'll have to go back and fight the Knights myself.
Yeah.
And like for you people that played solo mode, if you're watching, comment below. Like, I don't know, do you get to play as both of them in that mission? Because that's disappointing if you don't. If you only get to play as one. But yeah.
I'd hope that they like swaps out. I feel like it would. Yeah. But if you get the chance to play it co-op, it's only local play. You can't do it online co-op. Definitely do it because it is a lot of fun to like just play like with your friend instead.
It's just Lego Star Wars is the ultimate co-op game, especially this new one.
I'd say it's the ultimate modern co-op game, if that makes sense, because like you get like co-op
the
game,
old
you think,
one,
like Mario Party, but
the old one is not as friendly because you're tethered to each other. This is the point I wanted to make. A lot of the newer Lego games, you can run wherever you want.
Because you actually get the split screen that like works effectively. Like
which is good and bad.
It was the
you can't
co-op
see.
And you just stretch the screen and it wouldn't go.
Yeah, the split screen has its pros and cons. You know, we get to play together, but the field of view. Like we don't
Yeah.
get to see as much or as wide, so that can be tricky.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Using the Force was very difficult in some situations. You like can't move the things because you can't see where you're going. You can't see where you're directing the item. But you're just like, I hope this works. So that would be a time I would just drop out so we could like finish moving something. But
so we've talked about our favorite moments of that we played through in each film for the most part. I'm sure we forgot something, but one thing I kind of wanted to go back to, not criticizing the game, but something I felt each film could have used one more mission or something to do.
yeah.
But if we go to each trilogy, we can work backwards if you want. Like, what's one mission you thought could have been in each trilogy?
So I think that they did a good
That
job
wasn't.
of like covering all the major beats in the story, but I really
Yeah.
wish that like obviously there was more to it. In The Force Awakens, I'd like to see more of somehow make something between Han and Leia, like on the first
Yeah.
the first base, because first base Han and Leia. In the closet, but they whoa, that went too far. They don't really have that much like in The Force Awakens, like, but they do have like a scene, and like I wish that they like showed that like more somehow like in The Force Awakens, because they can like expand on like just a couple lines. I wish that they like did that. Just
They
as a
do
little bit
skip
of
over.
extra stuff.
There's so much in this game. So, like,
Yeah,
Force Awakens, the game, had the whole movie to focus on. They had every line beat for beat, I feel. But they didn't even mention, in this game, in Force Awakens, they didn't even mention, like, save our son, bring back our son.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get you there. But a mission that I'm trying to think of one that could have been... There's two that come to mind, and they both involve vehicles, oddly enough. You didn't get to play the Battle of Crate.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
I know they
so
get
that, I was
annihilated.
gonna say Last Jedi. I wish there was more on Crate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actually
And-
outside, like battle wise, because you can explore the base, but like they also
Do they
didn't
even
really...
show the speeders? I think they do.
I don't remember.
They must. Yeah, I think they
I
do.
don't know.
And then I kind of wanted to just name something we could have added, just one per saga,
Yeah,
trilogy,
okay, sorry.
not
So,
one
yeah.
per movie. No, I mean, it's
Roll
fine.
back.
So for Rise of Skywalker, my big one
Oh,
I wanted
okay.
to add, though, was the Battle of Exegol, flying around
Yeah.
and seeing all the ships, or maybe you get to play as a Naboo fighter or Poe and it switches.
Do you know how much of a logistical nightmare that would have been to code, though?
It would have been a good end it with a bang.
That would, yes, they would have. Yeah,
The game would have broke even
they
more
probably
so.
wanted to, but they were probably like, "There's no way we can like
True.
get this with that much content already in there." Like,
And they
they're
already
just
had
not capable of doing
Two
it yet.
Poe flying missions anyways, so maybe they
You
didn't
could
want
have been
another.
like Snap, and you could have been like Lando and Chewie coming in on the Falcon, and then it ends with you rescuing everybody.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, but like that would have been like a good ad. Add-ons for the other movies. More content with the clones for the prequels, first of all.
That's
Like obviously we don't get a lot of it in the actual movies, which we always forget. But like I wish that there was more of it in the game, because
just
like they
thought it
are
was-
such fan favorites.
I just thought it was kind of nuts that one of the things I loved was the Battle of Naboo. You got to play as the Gungans,
Mm-hmm.
but like, how in the world do you not get to play as the clones fighting the droids on Geonosis? I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
coolest battles in all of Star Wars.
There's
It's all
droid-
CG, but it
It's
looks
Droid
cool.
Factory, and then
Yeah.
and then it's pretty much
And then
done.
it's
You're off
Dooku.
of Geonosis, and
Yeah.
so you don't have the in between. So I wish that there was like the replayable Battle of Geonosis, so you can play as the Jedi or the clones. Like that would be really cool. Like I wish that was an
That would have been
option.
sick. You play
Yeah.
as
Any of-
Garamendi or Mace Windu or
Yeah,
whoever, and
any of the Jedi who are there. Ayla Secura, so she's not an actual like code you have to enter in afterwards, but
Yeah.
a playable character just casually.
And all I wanted to do was fly a lat gunship with the laser shooting out across
Yeah.
Geonosis, and we didn't get to do that because that
No.
was the worst mission in the old Lego Star Wars game. I think it was called Gunship Corral or something. Or I don't know. It was
Around
called
the
something,
Serapis Perimeter Create.
and it was so bad the way that it was all set up. But I remember it had that gunship sound effect of just. Brrr. So that wasn't there, and I know all my things I wish they added were vehicle things. It seems, but
Yeah, well that's what you wish that they added more of. So that's
I just
fine.
thought it was weird that they had the Gungan battle, but not, and they even had that catapulting thing. They could have had that mechanic, is what the word I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
yeah, definitely.
There goes the gunship. They could have had that mechanic as like a tank or something in in Attack of the Clones. Or you
Yeah,
know how
swap
when
it out for the funny like
they
laser
shoot
ones.
down the balls that go rising.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I would have taken anything.
What
but
would
oh
you have
well.
added into originals?
I thought it was a weird move that, once again, it's a vehicle thing, but I thought it was weird that you didn't get to blow up the Death Star 2 or something in that space battle, because that's kind of known as one of the better space battles in Star Wars. You know, next to Rogue One, that's probably the coolest space battle. Like, there's a lot going
Probably,
on over
yeah.
Endor. So,
Yeah, there was
trying to
a
think of
lot
others.
to go over. Yeah, there's a lot that they could have like added in. But I mean, like I'm very content with like what we actually like did get though.
They nailed Empire,
As
I
always.
thought.
Yeah.
Everything's there that should be, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah.
More clone
So,
content.
I also hope that I don't think that they will, but you never know. But they're just doing like the character pack, like DLCs, like in the
Yeah.
future. I hope that they add in some sort of like mini mission like with them somehow, even if it is just like running around like existing planets and doing a sat mission, like that'd be fine. But to actually like use the characters in some way, that'd be cool. I wish that more of the characters, like the side characters, had like voices, like better voices. Like Sidon Anthano doesn't have a voice; he just kind of
No.
like mumbles along.
There's a cool way to
Neither
get
does
him, though.
Enfys. So I feel like it is our duty to explain the Sidon bit. So we had to like, he was like working with the bounty hunter somehow as just a hired muscle, and you had to go and like take him down on Canto Bight. And so we like had to like shoot Sidon, and it was the worst experience because we didn't want to hurt him. We just wanted him as our friend. But like we managed to get him, and he is now quick draw in there as well all the time.
It was cool though that like there was a boss fight to get him at least.
Yeah,
You know,
it
and
was
they
just,
called
like,
him the Crimson
Sidon
Corsair and
Anthano.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they made him.
And-
They made him pretty badass.
And you can fly around in the Maison Martinet as well, so that is my default ship,
Yeah.
the bright yellow.
It's so
freighter.
hideous
I
in
love
Lego
it.
form, but
Oh,
it's great.
disgusting. I love it. It's god awful.
A flying bottle of mustard. I wanted to end. We'll wrap up here. I wanted to mention my rankings for each one.
Yeah,
which,
go for it.
meaningless,
I
who
don't
cares?
have a rankings. I mean, I just say like my favorite was the Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, so that's what you get.
I wanted to mention Wandering Wookie
Yeah.
is amazing. So essentially, before I get to my rankings, I wanted to mention him because if we didn't mention him, this podcast would be a failure. And I might make a T-shirt with him on it. But
We mentioned all the other favorites: Gonk, Sidon, and now Wandering Wookiee, so we're good.
Wandering Wookie is the most adorable Wookiee you'll ever see, and he's on every planet. So you have to go find him if you're playing the game. I'm sure you know about him, but he's somewhere, not hiding, but somewhere you have to find him. And he's just standing there with like his notepad. His name's Wandering Wookie because he
He's just
wanders.
traveling. He's just
he's
seeing
just
the
traveling
galaxy.
across the yeah, and you have to talk to him with someone that understands Wookiees.
Shuri-Wook.
And he's just cute. I don't think there's any like quests with him really. I'm sure if you talk to him on each planet, maybe you get something. But
Yeah, I think that's the only reward. But he's
He
definitely
is the
very
best.
cute. He's adorable. Cute little Wookiee.
all right, ranking time.
All right, go for it.
No one that asked. No
I
one
asked,
for
what's
this.
your ranking?
So three movies got a 10 out of 10. And remember, everyone, these are for the Lego game. These aren't my film rankings of these. A New Hope got a 10 out of 10. Empire got a 10 out of 10. And Rise of Skywalker got a 10 out of 10. So that lines up with Jamie loving that too. Next, we have Last Jedi was 9.5 out of 10. And then Revenge of the Sith was a 9 out of 10. I know we didn't mention much about that, but I wrote these after we played them, so I guess I really did enjoy that.
Okay, fresh off of it. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have two 8 out of 10s, Attack of the Clones and Force Awakens. I think I was so low on Force Awakens because it did have its own game,
Yeah.
and that
There
was the
a
most
lot
recent
we wanted
thing.
to
So
see.
yeah. And then unfortunately, Phantom Menace got a 7.5 out of 10. And then Return of the Jedi got 7 out of 10. Because I don't
Alright.
really, yeah. Maybe the speeder bike mission had something to do with that.
I think
but,
that had a lot to do with it since it was also towards the end and one of the last things you have to do. That was
So those
a
are
rough
all-
evening.
Those are all good rankings. I mean, the
Yeah.
lowest was a 7 out of 10. That's still pretty good. So overall, I mean, I'd give the game a 9 out of 10. We're still playing it every night, it seems. Free play
Yeah.
and getting everything, and it's still really fun. So
I'd honestly say overall, I'd give the game 8.5. out of 10.
With the bugs.
Just because like there are like a good handful of bugs that feel like they're more common in co-op, which is how we're always playing it. Yeah, and like I feel like they could have tossed in a few more story things.
Yeah.
But hey, that's what I get for liking obscure characters like Enfys Nest. So like, whatever.
I can see why the game was delayed, like
Yeah.
2 or 3 years,
It's
whatever
huge.
it's been.
There's a
So,
lot of work that had to be done, and I hope that they like continue to release updates and whatnot, and they will. I'm excited for more, and it's just been an overall success, and everyone should go play it because it's a lot of fun.
And everyone should go get this coffee mug. And yeah,
It's yeah.
Lego Star
Anyway,
Wars.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the HoloNet Marauders podcast. If you have been listening in the audio version, we have a video version of our podcast. Just search for HoloNet Marauders on YouTube. You can find us everywhere at HoloNet Marauder on Twitter, and then at HoloNet Marauders on Instagram and everywhere else. Yeah, thank you so much for listening to the HoloNet Marauders podcast.
See you next time.